When you think about AI models these days, they're just everywhere, right? Helping with data, coding, answering random questions.
Absolutely. They're becoming fundamental.
But it strikes me, we usually lean on these big cloud services. And I know a lot of people are starting to think about, well, the cost month after month. And what about privacy? Sending your data out there. Plus, you're kind of dependent on their setup, aren't you?
Those are exactly the conversations happening. Yeah. The cloud stuff is powerful, no doubt,
Yeah.
scalable. But those trade-offs, cost, privacy, which is like critical for so many fields, and yeah, that reliance factor,
Hmm.
they're pretty significant concerns.
Right. Which brings us neatly to what we're digging into today, Ollama. It's this open source tool. And the whole idea is running these AI models, these LLMs, locally on your own machine.
Exactly. Imagine cutting those cloud costs way down, keeping your data completely private right there with you.
And for developers, I mean, building AI features right into your system without needing an external connection for the core processing. That sounds pretty compelling.
It really is a shift.
Mm.
Ollama basically makes these advanced AI tools much more accessible. You get control back, no constant API fees draining the budget, more say over your data, and you pick the models.
Okay, so that's the mission for this deep dive then. We want to get under the hood of Ollama, understand how it works, what the big advantages are, especially thinking about those cloud concerns, and what problems it's actually solving out there for individuals, for businesses.
Yeah, give people a clear picture of what it is and why it's, frankly, generating quite a bit of buzz.
Perfect. So let's start at the beginning. How do you actually get Ollama onto your computer? Is it complicated?
Actually, no, it's designed to be pretty straightforward, which is key, right? You just head over to ollama.com.
Ollama.com, got it.
Yep. And right there, you'll see download options for Windows, Linux, Mac. Just grab the installer for your system, run it like you would any other application. It's usually quite quick.
Okay, so standard software install feels familiar. Once it's installed, then what? How do you, make it do something?
Right. So there are basically two main ways you interact with it.
Yeah.
First, you could just launch the desktop application you just installed.
Okay, so I double-click the icon.
You do, but here's the slightly different bit.
Yeah.
You probably won't see a big window pop up like most apps. It starts a server that runs quietly in the background.
Ah, okay. So it's working, but invisibly.
Pretty much. You
Yeah.
might see a little Llama logo appear in your system tray,
Mm.
like near the clock. That's
Yeah.
your cue. It's up and running.
Makes sense. What's the other way? Maybe for folks who prefer using the terminal.
Yeah, the command line interface,
Yeah.
or CLI. If you open up your terminal, command prompt on Windows, terminal on Mac or Linux, and just type Ollama and hit enter,
Ollama. Okay.
you should get some output back, like a list of commands or some info. That's your confirmation. It's installed correctly, and your system knows what Ollama means.
Got it. No window for the app, but Ollama in the terminal tells you it's alive. Okay, so it's running. Now, the exciting part, using the actual AI models locally. Where do they come from? Do I need to build them?
No. Thankfully, not build them from scratch. That's one of Ollama's real strengths, actually.
Yeah.
It gives you access to tons of open source models. You're not locked into one company's offering.
Open source is always good.
And what's really powerful, especially maybe for your projects, is you can set things up to use your own custom models, or even pull models from places like Hugging Face.
Hugging Face, that's the big hub for AI models, right?
Exactly. Massive library. So you have a lot of flexibility there.
Okay, flexibility is great. But if I'm just starting, maybe I just want to try something. Is there like a menu of available models for Ollama?
Yep. The Ollama site has a library section. Just go to ollama.com/library.
/library, okay.
And you'll find hundreds of models listed there. You can browse, filter them, sort them, find ones that fit what you need. You'll even see multimodal models there.
Multimodal, what does that mean?
It means they can handle more than just text. So some can understand images, maybe even audio, along with text prompts.
Wow, okay. That opens up some interesting possibilities. So let's say I'm browsing the library, and I see one I like, maybe Llama 2, which seems popular. How do I get that onto my machine and run it?
Super simple. Back in your terminal, you just type Llama run and then the name of the model. So Ollama run Llama 2.
Ollama run Llama 2, that's it.
That's basically it. The very first time you run that command for a specific model, Ollama will download it for you automatically. Takes a moment, depending on the size.
Okay, it fetches it.
Exactly. Then the next time you run Ollama run Llama 2, it's already there, so it starts up much faster.
Nice. So Ollama run Llama 2. What if I download a few? Like maybe I try Mistral too. How do I know what I have installed locally?
Good question. There's another command for that, Ollama list.
Ollama list, okay.
Type that, hit enter, and it'll show you all the models currently downloaded on your machine.
And switching between them, if I want to use Mistral now instead of Llama 2.
Just use the run command again with the other name. So Llama run Mistral. It'll switch over to that one.
Huh. That really is quite user-friendly. It almost sounds like, I don't know, managing apps or packages on your system.
Someone actually described it like a package manager for AI models, which I think is a pretty good analogy.
Okay.
And yeah, there are a few other useful commands too.
Like what?
Well, if you just type Ollama on its own, it lists all the commands. But some key ones are Ollama model. That's for removing a model you don't need anymore.
LLM for remove. Makes sense.
As Ollama kit, we're copying models and commands for customizing models, which is a really powerful feature we should probably touch on later. Tailoring the AI,
Customizing. Definitely want to circle back to that. Okay, so the command line gives you good control, run, list, remove, copy, customize. That's pretty solid for local management. But I remember reading something about an HTTP server. What's that about? Why is it important?
Yes. That's actually a crucial piece. So Ollama doesn't just work from the command line. It also starts up an HTTP API server running on your local machine.
An API, so like other programs can talk to it.
Exactly. It usually runs on localhost port 11434 by default. Think of it as a local web address that your own code can send requests to.
So, wait. Everything I can do with a Llama run or a Llama list in the terminal.
You can also do, by writing code, say, in Python or JavaScript or whatever, to send an HTTP request to that local address. You can tell it to run a model, give it a prompt, get the response back, all programmatically.
Okay, that unlocks a lot. So if I'm building my own app, I could have it use an AI model running locally through this API without needing the cloud at all for that part.
Precisely. You can use basic tools like curl for testing or proper programming libraries like requests in Python to send POST requests to the API endpoint, maybe AppChat or AppGenerate.
AppChat, okay. So how do I know if this API server is actually running? Does the desktop app start it? Or do I need to do something special?
Good question. If you started Llama using the desktop application, then yes, that background server and the API usually start automatically. That little system tray icon is often your indicator.
Right, the background process.
But if you're more of a terminal person, or if it's not running for some reason, you can start it manually. Just type Ollama serve in your terminal.
Ollama serve.
Yep. That will start the API server in that terminal window, and it'll usually tell you which port it's listening on, typically 11534.
Okay, desktop app handles it automatically. Ollama serve gives you manual control. That makes sense. Now, actually using that API from code, can we walk through a quick example, maybe using Python since that's so common in AI?
Sure. Let's imagine the slightly more manual way first, just to see the moving parts. You'd use Python's requests library. If you don't have it, it's just pip install requests.
Okay, pip install requests. Got it.
Then in your Python script, you define the URL, like http://localhost.11434 rapidchat. That's the address you're sending your request to.
Right, the endpoint. What do I send to it?
You need to send some data, usually in JSON format. This JSON would contain the model name you want to use, like model.mistral, and then usually a list of messages representing the conversation. The last message would be your actual prompt.
So like a history of the chat plus my new question.
Exactly. Something like messages.role, user content. Why is local AI useful?
Then you use requests.post to send this whole package to the URL.
And you mentioned streaming before. How does that fit in?
Yeah, for a better experience, you'd tell the API you want a streaming response. In your requests.post call, you'd add stream true.
Stream true. Okay.
This means the API sends back the response bit by bit as the AI generates it, not all at once at the end.
So it feels more like typing in real time. How do you handle that stream in Python?
You loop through the response object. It usually comes back as chunks, often lines of JSON. Each chunk contains a piece of the generated text. So you parse that JSON in the loop, pull out the text fragment, and print it immediately.
Okay, I can picture that loop printing piece by piece. It shows the mechanics. But is there an easier way? Maybe less manual JSON stuff?
Yes, definitely. The community built a Python package specifically for this, just called Ollama.
Oh, nice. How do I get that?
Same way. Pip install Ollama, or pip3 install Ollama. Pip install Ollama.
Okay. And using this package makes things much cleaner. You import it, create a client object, and then just call methods on that client.
So instead of crafting JSON and post requests,
you do something much simpler, like response client.generate, model Mistral, prompt explain Ollama benefits. The package handles all the HTTP stuff, the JSON formatting, even the streaming if you want it, behind the scenes.
Wow, okay. Client.generate. That sounds significantly easier for developers. Just point it at the model, give it the prompt.
Exactly. It abstracts away a lot of the boilerplate code, really lowers the barrier to integrating Llama into Python apps.
Fantastic. That library sounds like a game changer for usability.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned customizing models earlier. That sounded really interesting. How does that work?
Right. Customization happens using something called a model file. Think of it as a recipe file for tweaking an existing AI model.
A recipe. Okay, I like that analogy. What's in the recipe?
It's usually a simple text file. The most basic instruction is from. This just tells Llama which base model you're starting with. So maybe from Llama 3.2.
From like a Docker file.
Very similar concept. Yeah, you start from a base image, or in this case, a base model.
Okay, so I pick my base model. What can I change?
One of the most common things is changing the system prompt. This is like giving the AI initial instructions or setting its personality before it even sees the user's first question.
Ah, so you can sort of set the stage for how it should behave.
Precisely. You could add a line like system. You are a helpful assistant that always replies in the style of a pirate.
Haha, okay. So I could make a pirate AI.
Totally. So you'd create a text file, let's call it pirate bot, and put this inside. From Llama 3.2, system ahoy. Respond like a swashbuckling pirate, ye scurvy dog.
Yep.
Parameter temperature 0.8. Maybe adjust the temperature parameter for more creative responses too.
Parameter temperature 0.8. Okay, I saved that file as pirate bot. Now what?
Now, you use the Ollama create command. You type Ollama create piratebot-f path to your piratebot file.
Ollama create pirate bot ash path to the file. Got it.
Ollama reads your recipe, uses the base model, Llama 3.2 in this case, applies your system prompt and parameters, and builds a new custom model named piratebot.
So now pirate bot is a model on my system. How do I talk to it?
Just like any other model. Ollama run piratebot.
Ollama run pirate bot. And it should answer like a pirate.
It should. Ask it a question, and hopefully you'll get a swashbuckling response back.
That is brilliant. Really powerful for specific tasks or just for fun.
Huh.
And if my pirate phase ends, how do I get rid of pirate bot?
Same way you remove any other model. Llama
Yeah.
ARM piratebot.
A Llama ARM pirate bot. Okay.
And you can check it's gone with a Llama list. And importantly, these custom models you create, you can use them with the HTTP API too. So your applications can talk to your custom piratebot or whatever you build.
Whoa, custom models callable via API. That really opens things up, which leads perfectly into the bigger picture. How is this local, customizable AI actually being used? What problems is Llama solving in the real world, especially in industry?
Yeah, this is where it gets really impactful, tying back to those initial concerns about cloud AI. The core problem Llama solves is making powerful LLMs accessible without the usual downsides. First, privacy and security. That's huge.
Because the data stays local, right?
Exactly. Nothing gets sent to a third-party server. Think about healthcare analyzing patient notes. Or finance, looking at sensitive financial reports. With Llama, you can do that analysis locally, on-premise, meeting strict compliance rules like HIPAA or GDPR, no external data exposure risk.
That's a massive advantage for regulated industries. What else?
Well, setting up and managing these complex models used to be hard. You needed specific ML skills, hardware knowledge. Llama wraps a lot of that complexity up
It simplifies deployment.
massively.
Yeah.
It makes it feasible for, say, a regular software developer, a researcher, even a hobbyist, to download and run state-of-the-art model in minutes without being a deep learning expert. It democratizes access.
Lowering the barrier to entry. And what about the cost factor we started with?
Big one. Cloud APIs cost money per call, or you pay for dedicated servers. With Llama, once you have the hardware, which might just be your existing laptop or desktop for many models, running the inference locally is free. No ongoing API fees. For internal tools or high-usage apps, the savings can be substantial.
Free to run locally. That's compelling. Any performance benefits?
Definitely latency. Sending your request to the cloud, waiting for it to process, getting it back, that takes time, network time. Running it locally cuts out that network hop.
So faster responses?
Generally, yes. For interactive things like a chatbot or a local coding assistant, that lower latency makes the experience feel much snappier, more real-time.
Snappier is always better.
Yeah.
And the customization.
We saw that with the pirate bot. You have total freedom with model files to tweak models for your specific needs. Cloud providers offer some customization, but you're often limited. Locally, you can fine-tune, change system prompts, parameters, create specialized tools perfectly suited for an internal workflow or a niche application feature in a way that generic cloud models might not support.
Okay, so let's connect those dots. Privacy for healthcare finance. Cost savings for internal tools. Low latency for interactive apps. Customization for specialized tasks. Can you give maybe one or two more concrete examples of how a business might use Ollama?
Sure. Imagine a law firm. They could run a customized Llama model, trained or prompted with specific legal knowledge, to help paralegals draft documents or summarize case law, all securely within the firm's network.
Okay, legal docs, keep it internal. Good one.
Or a software company could use a locally run coding model, maybe fine-tuned on their own code base, to provide highly relevant code suggestions and bug fixes to their developers without sending proprietary code outside.
Right, protecting the source code.
And thinking bigger, Ollama becomes a building block for more complex stuff like retrieval augmented generation or RA. That's where you have the LLM access your own private documents to answer questions. Running the LLM locally via Llama means your documents and the AI stay private.
So you can build a smart search over your own internal knowledge base securely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or even building local AI agents that can perform tasks for you within your own system environment. Ollama provides that core local intelligence engine. It really tackles the core problems of cost, privacy, control, and complexity that often hinder wider AI adoption.
It really does sound like it's flipping the script, moving power back from the big clouds to the individual user or organization.
That's a great way to put it. It's about enabling local execution, making AI more practical, accessible, and secure for a much broader range of uses.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. The key takeaway here is that Ollama is this fantastic free open source tool. It lets you run powerful LLMs right on your own computer.
Yep, bringing major benefits, keeping your data private, cutting out cloud costs, getting faster responses for local apps, and giving you amazing flexibility to customize models.
And it makes managing these models way easier, plus provides that API for developers to actually build things with local AI.
Exactly. It's about harnessing AI power without the usual strings attached.
Yeah.
More control, fewer costs, more privacy. It really opens up doors.
So if someone's listening and thinking, okay, I want to try this, what are the first steps you'd recommend?
Definitely head to ollama.com first. Get it installed. It's usually pretty painless. Then just try running a model. Use Ollama run with something like Llama 2 or Mistral from their library. Just see it work.
Just dive in and try it.
Yeah. And if you code, especially Python, grab that Ollama package with pip install Ollama. It makes playing with the API really straightforward. Experiment.
Great advice. So, as we finish up, maybe something to think about. How could running AI locally, right on your machine, change how you work or the projects you dream up? What could you build or automate if cost and privacy weren't the barriers they sometimes are with cloud services? What does that local control unlock for you?
That's the exciting question, isn't it?
It really is. Well, this has been incredibly insightful. Thanks for breaking down Ollama for us.
My pleasure. It's exciting tech.
Absolutely. And thank you all for joining us on this deep dive.